So guys, to start off, for the raised panels, I need to get my rails and stiles as square as possible. So the rough wood, I first plane one side square. Then on the table saw, I will cut them to 60mm strips. I need a whole bunch of them because there's 3 drawers and 2 doors. So I'm going to cut a bunch of strips quickly and show you from there. So guys, I've set up my dado stack and made a few test cuts. The first one, I want the reveal to be 6mm, and this one ended up to be 5mm, which I didn't like, so I changed it and then recut, and now it's 6mm. The depth I make them is 12mm, and I just put up my featherboard to keep my stock straight up against the fence as long as possible. So I'm quickly going to cut all the rails and stiles. All the rails and stiles I've made longer than what they need to be, so that I can trim them as I go. So I've got now a shed load of rails and stiles to cut quickly. Let me get them cut, then I'll show you again. What we need to cut now at the moment is the tongues that will fit in to the groove. So I've set my distance from my stop block to the outside of my blade to 12mm because we want this to go in 12mm. I've then set up the height of my dado stack to cut away the 6mm groove and create the first part of the tongue. So I'm going to cut against my stop block and then cut away the 6mm. After I've cut all of them, I will then flip them over, reset my blade to the height of 8mm, and cut the other side of the tongue. In the end, what we want is something like this. That's the 8mm side, that's the 6mm side. And they need to then fit into each other, looking something like that. So it needs to be flush on the side, flush on the other side, but most of all, we need the groove to line up exactly so that the panels can float inside. So I'm first going to cut all of the 6mm sides, and then I'm going to reset, cut all the 8mm sides away. That will create these tongues. Then I will cut to final length and create the other side of the tongue. So guys, you've seen me cut the rebates out of the back of the panels on the table saw. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to take them one by one and make sure all my gaps are closed, nice and clean and even. And then most important, my sizes, which in this case must be 346, like that one is, and the length must be 716, like that one is. Make sure everything is 100% square. Sand them and then assemble them. I would like to first rubio the center panels because it's a floating panel. I want to get them rubioed before I assemble them, because this might crimp a little bit and then you'll see the little lines if you rubio once it's been assembled. So I've bought some Rubio Pure to do this, and I'm just going to do the panels. The customer will then do the rest himself. So one by one, I'm going to take them now, make sure my corners is clean, sand everything. up to a 150 or a 180. I'll see. And then Rubio them quickly, put them one side, then do the final assembly. So guys, because this is a floating panel that we're not going to glue to the rails and stiles, I would like to give them a finish first before I assemble, because if this maybe shrinks a little bit, you'll see the little lines or the edges sticking out. So I prepped now all my panels to 180 grit sandpaper, and what the customer is going to use is Rubio monocoat. So I'm going to mix up some Rubio monocoat pure. It's a 3-to-1 mix, and then I'm just going to cover or coat the panels so that I can then in a day or two assemble them. I'm going to use the accelerator, so that means it will cure actually in something like 7 days, but usually within 48 hours you can start handling it. So let me get the Rubio on and get these panels looking beautiful. Guys, when gluing up the little panels, we need to make sure that no glue gets into the little groove that's going to capture the panel. So we're just going to put glue very carefully just on the tongues and then glue them in their place where they need to be, so that the panel still stays floating. I now got the 3 drawers and 2 doors to glue up, and then I'll show you what they look like. But the most important, the panel must stay floating. So guys, that's then the shaker doors and drawer fronts done. I just finished the panels, just in case of shrinkage or moving, so that you don't see the lines when they move out of the stiles. So to show you how I've done this, I've taken 60mm stock, then ripped with a dado stack, a 12mm deep and 6mm wide rebate in there, and that is to accommodate the panel in the first place, and then also the tongue and groove that we also then cut 12mm deep and then 6mm, and this side I think is 10mm we've cut away to create the tongue, and that then fits into so even on both sides, but most importantly the groove stays open everywhere. And when we glued it, we made sure not to get any glue into the grooves, only on the tongues, so that the panels stay floating. If I flip this one over, I can show you quickly. As you can see, there's a reveal everywhere, and that allows for the panel to, if needs be, it can move. So it is stiff, but it's not too stiff. It can move, but it won't rattle and shake inside the door when you shake it or move it or open and close it. That's now the shaker style doors done. Another project done. So guys, thanks for watching. That's my take on shaker style doors, door panels and drawer panels. I hope you liked it. I hope you learned something. If not, please comment and tell me what I did wrong or where we can improve. I'm happy with the outcome of it, and I think it's going to work well. It's wrapped and ready for the customer. I'll deliver that this week coming. On the other side of the workshop, I'm busy with a lot of small projects. I'm busy with 3 boards. This I had CNC'd by a friend of mine, and I'm going to resin fill it with white resin, and then we'll sand it and fix it. That you'll see somewhere along the line. Then I'm busy making some revolver grips for another friend from giraffe bone. I'm busy with a big white oak shelf, very heavy, very big shelf that you'll see next week. So there's lots of stuff going on in the workshop. So guys, enjoy the week coming, make some dust, but most of all, stay healthy, stay safe. See you next week.